Hi, we're here with Ken Ward from the Historical Society at the Historical Forum 2016. We'd just like to know why you think it's important to hold these events in the city of Elizabeth.
One of the main purposes of holding this event is to give our younger new members and new directors and trustees a chance to exhibit history, the beautiful buildings that we have, and start doing research on their own on historical issues around Elizabeth. I think the main theme is that Elizabeth is involved in trade and transportation and has been since the 1600s. And people don't realize that Elizabeth is doing the same things it's done for 350 years. And that's why we have these forums, so that... Good.
So how does the monument, the history awareness, contribute to the city's progress?
The monuments are a very important part of any community. Everyone is trying to see how they fit in to the area and their home area. And the first ones in the park actually were the cannon from the Mexican War in 1848. And that represented the history of General Winfield Scott, who has lived in Elizabeth and actually lived on the site where the gas station, the BP station now is, near City Hall. He was the hero of that war. He was also a candidate for President of the United States, and he lost the election. But he was also a general officer in the U.S. military from the War of 1812, right up to the point of the Civil War, where he was still the commanding most senior officer, and he lived here in Elizabeth. And so I think the community wanted to have some memorial for General Scott, and the cannon and later the memorial itself was that attempt. After that, each group and each military endeavor was added to in the park. And the Spanish-American War and the World War I, World War II, Korean War. Each of these were memorable events to the city of Elizabeth.
Okay, so to that tune, what do you think is the major goal in hosting these forums for the community?
The major goal of the forum actually is to get, or my major goal is to get young people active in doing the research and preparation and presentation of the facts. You saw Michael giving a performance. He's half my age, and the only way a historical society survives is by having people who are young come in and take over the study and the presentations. So I think you'll notice that the people here and the people who did research are very young, and that's my intent, to make sure that the organization continues to survive, and it only will survive if there are young people involved. It's that simple.
That's the truth. Thank you. Hi, we're here with Michael Simon at the 2016 Historical Forum for the Historical Society in Elizabeth, and we're just asking a couple questions. Curious how the research that you've done here has contributed to the 20th century in Elizabeth.
Oh, thank you. Well, the main focus today was the monuments on the Purple Heart, the USS New Jersey Bell on the battleship, and also a Singer Memorial. Basically, the research focused on the cultural identity of German immigrants and how the city embraced them in the time during World War I, and how they both contributed to the strength of Elizabeth and also the strength of the community. And also to honor those veterans who gave up their lives, the sacrifices that they made during World War II, the Korean War, and Vietnam. The research we did highlighted the impact those citizens had on Elizabeth and our nation.
Great. So what was the role of the citizen historians in the research process?
They did most of the research, especially on the monument portion. They young people in Elizabeth that were interested in the history, they went out to the library. looked up old articles in the archives and looked through a lot of documents and records, and they came up with the research, basically. And then we formulated the themes of the program based upon their research.
And what's the major goal in hosting these forums for the community?
It's education. Education, appreciation, and pride. Elizabeth is a very old city, 350 plus, and basically we want residents to feel pride in where they come from, to understand that this is a very important place culturally, economically, and great people have come here and come and gone and still grow here, so we want people to appreciate that and to understand the strong history of the city.
Great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So we're here with Mike Guarino with the Historical Forum 2016. Where we just talked about all the monuments in Elizabeth, and I just wanted to ask you why the monuments were important to you in Elizabeth.
Well, I think they're important in Elizabeth and also other communities because it gives everybody, all different groups that are involved in the city, an idea of what historical things have went on prior to them and what's happening now, and the pros and cons of some of the historical monuments that we have. So a synopsis on, how they were put there, what they were about. It's all educational, and it's part of history. We're talking about the city of Elizabeth now, and it's history on what went on, and maybe for us to take the best part of it and share.
And you said that you were involved with the Vietnam Memorial in Elizabeth? You were involved?
Well, yes, I've been involved with the new Vietnam Memorial in Elizabeth. Actually, this is the 10th anniversary. September 21st this year is the 10th anniversary of the Vietnam Monument that was sponsored by the Vietnam Vets of America, Eastern Chapter 779, of which I'm an associate member. Herb Worthington, he was kind of the guy that was the president at that time, and he later became the state commander and president of the veteran groups in New Jersey and in the surrounding states. So, as part of a team, we feel good that that's what we're doing. We're celebrating 10 years of the Vietnam anniversary being in Elizabeth.
I think the core or the important part is that it shows the diversity of the community and it teaches kids about their history so they can move forward. So I think that's great. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, I agree with you, but
Yeah.
I'm a little talkative. You gave me the microphone, so I said, I figured I'll give you what
No,
you
I think it's
then
great.
you
Thank
use
you.
what you want, but that's it.
I appreciate it.
I'm with you on the diversity, so 100%. Thank you. Thanks
you.
for the courtesy and thanks for interviewing me.
Yeah, thank you.
Ella es Tathiana Leguizamon. Ella es parte del grupo de historiadores ciudadanos que estuvieron trabajando en Elizabeth, New Jersey durante el año pasado. La primera pregunta es, ¿por qué los historiadores ciudadanos son importantes para la comunidad latina?
En mi opinión, yo siento que todos los latinos deberían saber más de historia, ya que ellos vienen aquí a conocer y a vivir en este país, necesitan conocer la historia de este país, saber más sobre dónde están viviendo.
¿Por qué la comunidad latina debe saber acerca de estos monumentos?
Igualmente es por la historia que tienen estos monumentos, también por la importancia y por el significado que tienen cada ciudad.
Gracias. Ella es Diana Vivanco, es miembro del board del Historical Society de Elizabeth y ella estuvo trabajando durante este año en el proyecto del Historical Society. ¿Por qué cree que los ciudadanos historiadores son importantes para la comunidad latina?
Bueno, yo creo que es importante que la comunidad latina entienda que es nuestra ciudad y es nuestra historia y ahora somos parte de la historia haciendo historia y es importante saber el antes para tomar decisiones para el después. Y mucha gente, Elizabeth es una ciudad de migrantes y la mayoría que vivimos aquí en Elizabeth somos migrantes, venimos de otro lugar trayendo costumbres y trayendo experiencias y es importante apropiarnos del espacio y entender la importancia que tiene para nosotros.
¿Por qué la comunidad latina debe saber acerca de estos monumentos?
Bueno, como ya lo dije, los monumentos dicen una historia y también representan algo. La comunidad latina tiene que apropiarse del espacio, el espacio público que es nuestro, y todos los días los estamos viendo. Yo creo que los monumentos deben identificarnos en algún punto de nuestras vidas, y también, como estamos haciendo historia, también ser voces para traer nuevos monumentos o nuevas representaciones, algo que nos identifique como hispanos, como comunidad, y que hable de nosotros en el futuro, que dejar nuestra huella en la historia.
Gracias.